This is huge for the Phoenix Suns as we've seen two role players absolutely stand out for this Suns team in some big games and have unlocked the Suns' potential, in my opinion, and players in Royce O'Neal and Monte Morris, who has gotten some nice usage with this Suns team when fully healthy. So we're going to be diving in and looking at these two players and what impact they can bring for the Suns and Mike Budenholzer offense for the future as well. We'll be looking at all of that and more in this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. Without further ado, let's dive into it before you do, grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, this is great for the Phoenix Suns as we have seen the emergence of some big role players when needed and necessary for this team. We all know the Suns team started off very hot at the season, then started to get a little bit cold going into the middle part of that first month due to the fact that they had injuries to Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant incoming. They dealt with Yusuf Nurkic dealing with multiple injuries. Grayson Allen has dealt with some stuff. But the Suns are kind of getting over that cold with the injury bugger and are progressing towards the future and in staying healthy. And even when those players were out, big key players like Rocinho and Monte Morris did step up and deliver. And we've seen Monte, maybe not as much with the stars out, but still be a quality role player in which I think he's going to show some more shine with this Suns team now that the team is fully healthy. So we're going to go in and dive and explore how this is great and how it unlocks the Suns to be the best in their rankings and to compete in this Western Conference. So like I said in the introduction, if we want to look at these two players, Royce O'Neal was the first one that I mentioned, and Royce has been having a quality season for the Suns this year. He's been that guy that has been that true kind of six man filling in for Durant, filling in for Bradley Beal in these starting lineups, and has been that typical role player the Suns needed. When he was acquired via the Brooklyn Nets last year, the trade deadline, he was expected to be this 3-and-D wing for the Suns, and unfortunately, it took some time for Royce to get acclimated to the Suns offense and kind of finding where he was going to shine, but he's kind of found that role at that backup power forward position, and it's been really, really great for the Suns. We've seen him step in at small forward as well, but he's been able to deliver. He hit some big shots in last night's game versus the Blazers when the Suns needed it most, but when the Suns don't have players like Durant and Beal in the lineup, Royce was one of those role players that was consistently playing for the Suns at a high level, producing for us on the offensive and defensive side. Now, obviously, he had some nights where he wasn't the greatest, but we're not expecting a player like Royce O'Neal, one of the premier bench players, probably a guy who would be in that six man of the year candidacy running if players in Durant and Beal were fully healthy. And I do think that a player like Royce O'Neal is severely underrated from these rosters across the league. If we want to look at his shooting chart from the season this year, we can see he obviously has been shooting lights out from the 3-point range. Has been struggling a little bit in the inside area, but that's okay. The Suns have, as a whole, have been struggling from scoring in the inside as they've been predominantly more a 3-point shooting team this year with Mike Budenholzer. But Royce O'Neal has really acclimated into Budenholzer's offense. KD has spoken very highly of Royce so far in this season. And I think it is key to see players like Royce O'Neal really step up and deliver for this squad. If we want to look at the contracts as well, we can obviously see that Royce O'Neal just got extended by the Suns this offseason, making around $15 million, and definitely is worth that penny for a player that can produce at that quality. If we want to look at this tweet from RB on Twitter, we can see that Royce O'Neal is 22 from 37 from three in his last 5 games, absolutely scorching from 3-point range. And those are 3 games without Kevin Durant in them. So like I said, he's been able to step up with Durant in the roster, fill in and be that secondary scorer off the bench, even in this starting lineup with Beal out. And I do expect when them to be fully healthy, Royce to continue to still be that staggering offensive point going against and attacking other teams' second units, which will be key for the Suns as he's been one of the better premier 3-point shooters, but also a quality defender as well. And next, the player I want to dive in and talk to, who I think has been really solid for this Suns team, even if his stats haven't been able to show it that much. And that's a player in Monte Morris. Now, if we want to look at his stats courtesy of Shot Creator, we can see, obviously, he has no flashy greens. And if we want to look at his shooting chart as well, he's not really stretching the ball from the outside that much. He is hitting that one corner 3 on the right side there. He's been shooting pretty well from the mid-range, but Monte brings a lot of things that I think the Suns lack, and that's defensive tenacity, hustle, and playmaking at that backup point guard. And we've seen, obviously, Tyus Jones, like we mentioned, really step up and deliver for this Suns squad. If we want to look at this tweet from RB, we can see that he's also been lighting up from 3-point range. 26 for 45 from 3 in his last 8 games, really stepping up, and delivering when the Suns need him most, specifically with Durant and Beal being out, similar to Royce O'Neal. But I think a player like Monte Morris is going to start to see the benefits. We saw in last night's contest versus the Blazers, he got some sporadic minutes, put up 4 points, got a good steal, was able to get a big layup over some bigger players on the Portland Trailblazers. And I truly believe player like Monte Morris has been playing solid for this team, just hasn't been given that much exploratory run. Now, obviously, with Durant being out, the Suns required players like Tyus and Booker to be more on that point guard role, kind of facilitating, kind of setting up this team. It limited Monte's role a little bit, and I think with Durant being back in this lineup, with things kind of getting cohesive, we could see a rise with Monte Morris and being that scrappy defender on this bench unit and kind of being that replacer. I don't think he's necessarily going to be that all-tier backup point guard that we saw on the Denver Nuggets, and I don't think he's going to be competing with Tyus Jones for some starting ability, but I do think as a backup point guard, he can provide some great services to facilitate this offense, to be a gritty, grindy defender, and to help out this secondary unit. Players like Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal get the job done against some of the other second units across the league, and I want to still believe in a player and Morris to be able to do that, and other players in this around this organization as well. If we want to look at the tweet from Bookham over here, we can see that Monte Morris has been hooping this season. You got to give him respect, and he has. He's been doing it. Excuse me, I hit the wrong button again. He's been doing it in some small shortages. He's had some great games where he's had some really high true shooting percentages. Some games, obviously, where he's not shooting the greatest, but that's what comes with Monte Morris. He's a guy that's going to come off the bench as, seventh, eighth man for this Suns team. But if they can have quality players all the way deep to that eighth, ninth man in rotation, that's only going to strengthen them in the playoffs as they go deeper and deeper, shortening their rotations in the playoffs. They have to be able to rely on big players like Morris, like Ryan Dunn, like Royce O'Neal, like Grayson Allen to step up and deliver alongside the starters in Beal, Booker, Tyus, Durant, and Nurkic at this very moment. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know down below in the comment section, ultimately, how you guys truly feel about this Suns team. Like I said, players like Royce O'Neal, players like Monte Morris have been moving quietly for this Suns team, and I think these are the stepping stones to unlocking the roster when it's fully healthy. Having key role players step up and deliver. We've seen Grayson get better as well. We've seen Tyus get better with this roster. It's all coming down to cohesion. We've always been watching the Suns for this first third of the season so far, and yes, they've been rocky. Yes, it's been a roller coaster of emotions dealing with the injuries after the hot start. But I truly ultimately think by the trade deadline, this Suns team will have figured things out, regardless if that's making some big time moves or not making some big times moves and moving some pieces around the edges. I truly think Matt Ishbia, James Jones, this front office is gonna give the Suns fans what they want, and that's the Suns competing for a championship. So they will make the moves, they will figure out a way, and I truly think that this Suns team can make some noise in the playoffs if fully healthy. Durant's playing like an MVP. Booker plays fantastic as a second star alongside of him. Tyus Jones has stepped up as a point guard for this team. And like I said, players like Royce O'Neal, Monte Morris, Grayson Allen have been delivering for this Suns team over these last couple of games to truly unlock this team when fully healthy. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, how you guys ultimately truly feel about the Phoenix Suns this season. Like we said, the Suns have a little bit of time off during waiting up for Thursday in their matchup versus the Pacers. So hopefully we'll get some updates on some injuries with Bradley Beal. Hopefully just figure out some more trading scenarios along with this team as well. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything regarding around this Suns team, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit the subscribe button, help us get to our goal of 2,000 subscribers. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.